My ex's ex-wife tried to befriend me, but I want nothing to do with her.
So complicated of a love triangle.
Yeah. I, 36 female, dated my ex-boyfriend, Dwayne, 37 male, for a year and a half. He has a daughter, Millie, 11, from a previous marriage. Dwayne and I met in elementary school, and we were childhood friends who grew up in the same town. While we grew apart, we bumped into each other all the time in town and had a lot of mutual friends. By the way, this comes from Dingoes Ate My Ammo, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to OK Storytime subreddit. At the beginning of our relationship, Dwayne did not have visitation rights to his daughter due to a custody battle going on with his ex at the time. This was a red flag for me, but I knew it was a contentious divorce and they were in and out of court frequently for years over custody, so I noted the red flag, but the custody battle was not unusual. When he got approved for supervised visits, Dwayne invited me to attend. I felt a little awkward about it at first. I didn't want to intrude on Dwayne's limited time with his daughter or make things more complicated for her. When Dwayne explained he'd be more comfortable with another adult present, I agreed to accompany him on the visits. The first few visits were awkward. Having a social worker present, of course, took getting used to. Dwayne and Millie both enjoy being outdoors, so when the weather was nice, we'd all hang out in the yard while Millie played with the neighborhood kids. One of her friends, Leanne, always stared daggers at me, and eventually Millie told the supervisor, Lisa, that she didn't know how to explain my presence to her friends. I offered to stop coming if it made her uncomfortable, but Millie quickly said it wasn't me, it was her friends and their questions. It was decided she'd introduce me to her friends as a friend of her dad's. Once she did this and they started including me in their games, we all had a great time.
All right.
Nice. This became routine, and Millie and I got along really well. Her friends also asked me to play games with them. The trouble started when Dwayne's ex-wife, Amber, started talking to me at drop-offs and pickups. Dwayne and Amber don't speak directly to each other outside the presence of lawyers or through a co-parenting app. So Amber would give Dwayne a rundown of what he needed to know at drop-off. She has a cold, so she's taking the medicine, needs a dose in 2 hours. She has this thing to go to at 1, and here's the stuff she needs for it, etc. Dwayne would ignore her and act like she wasn't speaking and ask me later what Amber had said because he wasn't listening. Red flag number 2. That's a blazing red flag. He's not listening to stuff about his daughter? As a result, when Amber gave us the rundown at switch-offs, I would ask questions and jot things down. So eventually, these conversations happened between Amber and me while Dwayne sulked beside me. Millie was involved in sports, and some of the games fell during Dwayne's parenting time. He was excited about this because he's very athletic and genuinely had fun preparing for the games, talking to the other parents, and cheering on the team. Amber and Dwayne both attended all the games. The two parents would compete with one another, each trying to out-cheer the other. Dwayne would try to win over the parents sitting with his ex. If Millie needed a water break, she struggled with which parent to sit with. I was always kind to Amber. I'd say hi to her when I saw her. If it was Amber's parenting time and Millie needed a water break, I'd wave her toward her mom and calm down her dad. If it was Dwayne's parenting time, I'd wave her over to Dwayne and give Amber a respectful nod. So OP's just the mediator here.
Goodness gracious.
That's frustrating. That's so frustrating. If the other parents commented on Dwayne and Amber's competitive cheering, I'd say something like, "Isn't it great she has two parents who want to cheer her on so passionately?" When I saw a friend of mine sitting with Amber during one of the games, I went over and said hi. She was there watching her niece play. I said I was dating Dwayne and we were watching Millie alongside Amber. Amber pointedly ignored me, but I continued to talk to our mutual friend and attempted to respectfully include Amber in the conversation. Amber's icy demeanor visibly warmed. Eventually, Amber and I became amicable. She'd smile and return my greetings. I'd walk over and chat with her during games. Nothing substantial, just, "Hi, how are you?" And, "Wow, the sun's hot today, huh?" Enough to acknowledge her presence in a civil manner. It went a long way. If Millie wanted to run to her dad instead of her mom after she scored a goal, Amber didn't make a fuss about it. The same could not be said for Dwayne, who got mad at me for being friendly with his ex. She's the only one who's trying to keep your parenting intact here. I was just trying to make things easier for Millie, but he took it as some kind of slight. He insisted I should be on his side, not become best friends with his ex-wife. It's literally, when it comes to children, no sides.
No sides.
No sides. It's what's best for the kid.
Exactly.
I told him I wasn't best friends with his ex-wife by any means, but if it made things easier for Millie, I was willing to be cordial with her mom. Shortly after, Dwayne got his regular visitation back. His parenting style changed dramatically. He stopped buying food for Millie, so when she came to her dad's, it was a scramble to make her something. He stopped playing with her, telling her to run outside with her friends while he sat with his neighbor and chatted. As the cold weather came in, it became apparent that Dwayne didn't have any toys or other means of entertainment for Millie. There were some coloring books and crayons given to her by her grandparents. Other than that, Millie's entertainment consisted of watching YouTube with her dad and playing games of hide and seek with us. We started taking Millie to my house, where I kept a supply of blue box mac and cheese and microwave chicken nuggets, as well as markers, colored pencils, sketch pads, and coloring books for when my cousin's kids visit. It got to the point where I was buying groceries for Millie, making sure she ate, playing with her, and keeping her entertained while Dwayne shot the crap with his friend or took a nap. He seemed entirely disinterested at best. Blazing red. I would have a conversation with him and say, like, either you need to freaking pay me back for these groceries or take care of your daughter. This is your daughter. She is not my responsibility. When we took Millie to the beach so she could hang out with her friends, Dwayne's behavior reached a tipping point. He didn't pack any food or water for Millie, saying, "I thought you would take care of that." He grilled Millie about her mother until she cried, and when I told him to back off, he barked at me not to tell him how to talk to his daughter. He yelled at Millie in front of her friends. The icing on the cake was when he made inappropriate comments about one of the children present. Disgusting. I was disgusted, and our breakup started that night. We had an event for Millie to go to the following week, so I attended for her sake. We broke up officially later in the week. Over that time, I discovered Dwayne had cheated on me with at least 2 women. He came by to pick up his stuff from my house and tried to reconcile, but I was not persuaded. I blocked him everywhere and went no contact. I ran into Amber the day of the breakup, and I explained that Dwayne and I were broken up. Amber was surprisingly warm and sympathetic. She was actually disappointed, saying, "You would have been the perfect stepmother for my daughter." I was honestly more heartbroken to lose Millie than to lose my ex. I had some things for Millie and asked Amber if I could drop them off to her. I didn't want to go anywhere near my ex's house. When I stopped by, Amber invited me to sit down on the porch and talk to me about her time with Dwayne and why they broke up, as well as the purpose of the custody dispute, his alleged inappropriate behavior towards children. To this day, I don't know if the allegations are true, but since Dwayne made inappropriate comments about a child to me, I was genuinely concerned. Amber friended me on social media and we kept in touch. However, it soon became clear all we had in common was Millie and Dwayne. She would call me after a switch off to complain about Dwayne, tell me about his latest girlfriend, etc. I told her I'd rather not hear about Dwayne because it was painful for me. However, she continued to vent to me about Dwayne as well as other things in her life. She also seemed a little unstable and often hinted about money problems. At one point, she asked if she could use my streaming account so Millie could watch a few particular Christmas movies. I felt like she was using me and she wasn't being respectful of my boundaries. I've slowly limited my contact with Amber and eventually stopped replying to her messages. It's been over 2 years since Dwayne and I broke up. I feel extremely guilty about this because cutting off Amber also means cutting off Millie. I'm not no contact, but low contact. I feel like Amber really wants to be my friend, but it's hard for me to embrace a friendship with someone who does not respect my boundaries. Am I the a-hole for going low contact with my ex's daughter and her mother? And by the way, you shouldn't go no contact with us because you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Just search up OK Storytime. And there is a little bit more to the story, but do you have any final thoughts? What would OP be the a-hole?
No, not at all.
That's not your kid, not your relationship. You would not be the a-hole. It's going to be sad. And Millie probably is going to be sad about, losing you.
I think once
your kid.
Millie gets old enough, you can send her a graduation gift and be like, "Hey, you were always awesome. I hate that we didn't work out."
I think that's appropriate, but you don't have to. I mean, it sucks, but I think the best thing is just to be like, okay, I'm not going to see you guys anymore. But there is a little bit left to the story. Added to those saying I didn't do enough, should have reported him, etc. Dwayne and Amber were both investigated by social services. I had no proof to report anything. As soon as he made creepy comments about a kid, I gave that info to Amber's mother to use in their court case. But it was the word of his now ex with no proof. I'm not sure how I could have done anything more where social services was already investigating and probably continues to. Thanks for kicking me while I'm already feeling like an a-hole though. Yeah, I mean, what is OP supposed to do?
Yeah, she did what she
gave
did.
That information.
She did what she thought was the best.
But that is the end of that story. So we're going to get into the next one.